If you just they join us, you're there on top of the Good Morning Naija show this morning. And of course, you know, say they give you all the etc. things that will be very, very important. We will know say you go benefit from. Now they do give you. We get one of Bunga guests with inside the house. Today, now World Heart Day. That means if you know they take care of your heart or all the things that way you need to know about your heart health. And we get one of Bunga doctor inside the house. We go follow us discuss every etc. things on top of this particular one. He's a consultant cardiologist. That means heart doctor. Doctor, the way they take care of everything we concern your heart. And he be medical director for Care Multi-Specialist Hospital. Please help us welcome Dr. Tosin Majekodunmi. You're very welcome, sir.
Good to have you in the house. Now, let's just start with a lot of statistics from experts. Now, the common side talk say out of 10 Nigerians, at least 3 Nigerians must get cardiovascular disease. With something where they are alarming as this, can you explain to us what cardiovascular disease actually mean?
Yes, I can. Thank you. So, cardiovascular disease just refers to diseases that people get that can affect the heart or the blood vessels that supply all the body. And the things that, as you correctly said, the statistics out there are actually quite alarming. They usually say between 3 and 4 of all Nigerians have some form of cardiovascular disease. So the heart itself, usually the one that most people are aware of is hypertension, which is a very big deal. There are some statistics that even say up to 1 in 2 Nigerians, adult Nigerians, suffer from hypertension. And then other vascular diseases that can lead to other problems like stroke or renal failure also are there as well. And these are very, very big problems.
I'm just wondering that what thing they happen because we seem to see an insurgence or an increase when it comes to cardiovascular diseases. She not the habits where we they live, and I'm comparing say what thing we they do wrong in this generation what they know they do before. Because if you look at it now, I have seen 27-year-old will get hypertension. And I they wonder say before we they see them as old people sickness, people will get problem or where life don't challenge. Now then they get hypertension. What be the cause? What make an increase like that?
That's an excellent observation. So you're quite correct. In the old days, the things that people used to suffer from the most were things like malaria, infectious diseases, cholera, things, all those kind of infectious things. But these days, as you alluded to, because of our changing lifestyles, so now, I remember when I was younger, every time you want to eat, you eat at home. Yes. Today, when you want to eat, there are all manner of fast food joints with fried things, containing a lot of salt, etc., etc. Those are the things that now are promoting this increase in our cardiovascular diseases. So you get a lot of hypertension because of the salt, you get a lot of obesity because of the cholesterol, you get a lot of diabetes because of the sugar, all the fast food drinks. When we were all younger, you know, having a soft drink was something that you did very rarely. Maybe you went to a party, you go to a birthday. Exactly, but now it's every day. Yeah. Every day people are drinking all these things and in increasing quantities. So all these things are, and then also there's a reduction in our exercise capacity. So again, in the old days, our parents, they were on the farm. They used to walk everywhere. They were very fit. Now everybody goes everywhere by car, or they sit at home in the evening just watching television and not doing very much at all. So all these factors have all contributed to the increasing incidence we are seeing in all these cardiovascular diseases.
Now, when we talk about cardiovascular, we talk about heart diseases, of course, we also need to remember health check. How often Nigerians actually come meet people like you for health check? Because I know say a lot of people say what you don't know will not kill you.
Well, in our field, actually, what you don't know may be exactly what kills you. Yeah. Some people are very diligent and look after their health. They come and see a doctor once a year just for a general check. But some other people never go and see a doctor at all, never go and get themselves checked until they feel unwell, until they feel something is wrong. I think in this case, one of the old things that our parents used to say, prevention is better than cure, is always true and definitely comes into play. It is much better for the patient, much cheaper for the patient to find out that there is a problem ahead of time and deal with it rather than wait for something dramatic or something bad to happen. before taking action.
Now, I need to do a follow-up question because a lot of people, some people talk, say, why they know they can't do health check in Nigeria? Now, because of the belief system of our health sector. Now, they say when you go to some hospitals, some equipment not there. In fact, when you see the state of some hospitals, it'd be like, say, when you go there for cure, you're going there to get more diseases. How or what do they do? People like you, how do you convince we Nigerians or people don't even believe, say, our system, our health, we get hospitals that are up to standard?
Okay. I think there has been a very long-standing problem in the country with some of our hospitals where they, due to very many factors, they have not been able to provide the standard of care that people would be used to. I'm sure a lot of people have relatives who live outside the country, whether in the US or the UK, etc., where they compare the standard of care that they are receiving, and they say that why don't we have that standard of care here? I'm pleased to be able to say that at least in Nigeria, we are now beginning to get a number of facilities, I have to say, such as Eurocare, where we have the equipment to be able to diagnose people, and also the expertise, because just having the equipment is one thing, but if you don't have people who can, interpret and look after the equipment appropriately, then it's not of much use. So we have both the equipment and the expertise to be able to look after people, diagnose them, and then be able to do something about it. The other thing that is good for your listeners to remember is that in this day and age where we have all manner of advanced technology these days, in the old days, we usually wait for something dramatic to happen, and then it is even clear. Like I always say to some of my patients, even your taxi driver can say, something is wrong with you. But these days, you don't have to wait until it's that obvious. All manner of technologies and devices exist that you can pick things up early before the problem occurs and prevent something dramatic or catastrophic happening in the near future.
You know, when they use all these big catastrophic disease and all those things, people, they hear money, money, money. A lot of things when it comes to this kind of high-end checks is very expensive. And we don't want to lay everything at the feet of all of our will be private practitioners, because we have been able to observe and from our research that to even bring medical equipment into the country is at a high cost.
Yes.
And by the time you do all that, maybe a dialysis machine to come in, if you want to import 3, you go do 2 because the money for back-end things, them, you go pass the money where you import the particular machine. What do we do to reduce the cost of good medical care? Because now our people have begun to resort to quacks and more deaths occur. And even now, tradomedical, that have no gauge, no function, no way to measure the analysis, they are resorting to that. And it's not because they no one get better care. It's because good medical care, it costs money.
You're absolutely correct. And one of the reasons why on World Heart Day, we are trying to educate a lot of people about the things that they can do to prevent something bad from happening is precisely because it is cost effective. It is cheap. Even in any hospital, it is cheap to check your blood pressure. In any hospital, it's easy to screen for diabetes by doing a simple blood test or dipstick in the urine. It's relatively cheap to get your cholesterol tested to see whether you have high cholesterol or low cholesterol. Doing things like taking regular exercise every day, just walking around your environment where you live for an hour a day or something like that. All these are relatively cheap interventions that anybody can do to reduce their risk of having a problem. And if you do, unfortunately, get diagnosed with high blood pressure or high cholesterol or diabetes, the drugs to treat these at the early stages, again, are quite cost effective. They're not that expensive. What ends up being expensive is if you do nothing and then you wait until there's a stroke or there's a heart attack or there's something else, then that now becomes very expensive to treat. You need very expensive machines to make the diagnosis, very expensive machines to do the intervention. For example, I had a 30-year-old man, very young gentleman, who just smokes socially, just with his friends now and again, now had a heart attack. He had blood clot in the most important vessel at the front of his heart. Now, the simple thing there would have been, don't smoke. That is cheap. It's free, in fact. But because people sometimes engage in lifestyles that are not as healthy for them as they should be, he now had a blood clot in the front of his heart. He was having a heart attack. He now needed an expensive intervention to unblock that vessel, which we were luckily able to do for him at Eurocare, we're able to unblock that vessel and then restore blood flow to the muscle that was dying. But you can compare cheap intervention, stop smoking, or very expensive intervention, unblock heart artery. What we are trying to promote today are the things that anybody should be able to afford. Don't smoke, watch your diet and reduce your cholesterol, go to your doctor regularly to check your blood pressure, screen for diabetes, and screen for cholesterol.
Now, I would like to ask you, can you just give us you just give us one scenario of a 30-year-old man. If you give us any worst case scenario where you don't handle and it was almost as if all was lost.
Well, I mean, this case certainly would have been a very tragic case, because you have someone who's 30, and I normally say to my patients that if I say a 30-year-old today, my expectation for an average 30-year-old that should be that he should get to 100 years old. And so that means that that heart that is being affected now has to last him for another 70 years. Now, if he's damaging that heart now, then how is he going to see out the 70 years that he's meant to get to? So again, all the preventive measures, which are cheap and cost-effective, are the things that we want to use today to try and educate a lot of the population that try and do these things, so you don't get into this situation where your heart is potentially damaged, your life expectancy is affected, and you have to now resort to very expensive interventions to be able to look after your health.
All right, I read about, I'm sorry, I just need to get this idea. I read somewhere, and the talk say men, they actually get cardiovascular disease more than women. How possible is this?
Well, that is what we used to believe. So many years ago, we also used to think that men got heart attacks and women don't get heart attacks. But these days, we now realize that women get heart attacks just as much as men do. And in fact, women are at higher risk of dying when they have a heart attack compared to men. We know that now. The reason why we used to think that women didn't have heart attacks before is because women are different, as we all know. So men, when they get heart attacks, they complain of chest pain. It's very reliable. You know, we used to do this sign that, oh, it's painful. But women don't do the same thing. Women come along and say, I feel tired, or I can't breathe properly. I'm not as energetic as I used to be. But they have exactly the same problem. And the other thing with women that makes them at higher risk of dying when they have heart attack or heart disease is obviously based on body surface area. Women are slightly smaller than men, so their blood vessels are also slightly smaller than men. So it means the effect of a blockage or narrowing in the blood vessel is much higher for them than it is for men. And it also is more difficult for us to treat in the cath lab or through surgery, et cetera, et cetera. So again, the benefit of today is to educate women, to say, just because you're a woman doesn't mean you're at lower risk. In fact, studies say that you're at higher risk, and also that the regular checks and all the lifestyle interventions that we've been talking about apply equally to them as it does to men. So
are there signs to show that your heart's going to get some kind coma? Are there signs to show? Yes.
So signs before a heart attack?
Correct. So there are symptoms, particularly if you are somebody who is one of those at-risk groups. At-risk groups, I mean people who have high blood pressure, diabetes, cholesterol, they smoke, or indeed people who may have a history in their family of somebody at a relatively young age, maybe 40, 50, maybe the father or the uncle has had a heart attack, then they know that they're at high risk. So these kinds of people should always look out for certain things like, A, chest pain. If you are walking or you are running, you are climbing stairs, you get chest pain, you stop. After you get to the first floor, you have to stop and the pain goes down and then you feel better before you can continue. That's a warning sign to go to a doctor and get checked. If you get breathless doing the same thing, you are panting by the time you climb one flight of stairs, or you want to run for the bus, maybe you should go and get yourself checked. If you get pain in your back or going up to your jaw when you exert yourself, these are all signs that you need to think about getting yourself checked as soon as possible.
Now, I would like to ask, because they talk, according to one of the researchers who do, they talk, say Nigerian men or Nigerian people or Africans have weaker hearts compared to the Caucasians. How true? I mean, is that really true?
No, I don't think there are any studies to back that up. I think there are some differences with the African or black heart, if you will, compared to Caucasians. The main difference is that black people's hearts can be a little bit thicker in terms of the muscle compared to Caucasian hearts. And in fact, interestingly, there have been recent studies, I'm sure a lot of your viewers and yourselves have heard about some of the footballers who are on playing on the pitch and then just slump and then just collapse. There's evidence that black people are more susceptible to this happening than Caucasians, particularly because, especially the men, have slightly thicker hearts than their Caucasian counterparts.
Wow. You know, I look the doctor and I find them, we find very, very relaxing bedside manners. But I've seen doctors that are more aggressive, or that when they see them, they fear. That's why a lot of people, some people shy away from hospitals. Is this a training thing? And I've gone to hospitals that the outlook of the place is so scary that you don't even want to go. Because you just fear that, oh, this doctor no go, the way they go take talk, everything will be so scary. Because I found out that sometimes the approach where people they take, they affect the people where they go for medical care.
Mentally.
Because right now we've been talking mental health and looking at somebody can fear the person and say, I know they go.
Because the person will tell me, say, I don't die.
I've already seen someone that just because they took the person to hospital, he had a mild stroke out of fear of sitting. He said the grey wall, just the fear of me, they pump, say, now die a day. And we can laugh, but like, when we go to, like, I was opportunity to go to a hospital in New York. And when I saw the children's wing, oh my God, even if you're not well, you go hungry to stay there.
That's right.
Because the doctors, they wear pink, they wear gloves, we get like bunny hand.
That's right.
That even you self, you don't go feel say you are sick. But here I see a lot of hospitals in grays, in dull colors, very scary colors that it just they make you fear, say, nah, here I go die. It's just that somebody taking somebody to loot. I associate loot with a lot of death because maybe family history. A lot of my loved ones have died there. So when you say loot, I'm already like, hey, bye-bye. Is it
your head? Though. Don't mean that
it's a mental thing.
Absolutely.
Yes. We're not talking about...
you are very, very correct. And this is something that has now become a more regular thing that we see in hospital construction, in hospital design. As you correctly say, old-style hospitals were very scary places, very drab, colorless. The attitude of staff is very important. I remember when I was training in medical school, I was very hungry for the knowledge. I wanted to learn biochemistry, anatomy, physiology. And then our teachers would be talking about communication skills. And I used to get a little bit irritated. Why are you talking to me about communication skills? I want to learn the hardcore science. It's only now that I've been working and I've now been practicing for some time that now I now recognize the importance of all those things they were teaching us, which I didn't appreciate at the time. The importance of being able to communicate very effectively with patients, to be able to sense what their fears may be, and to be able to address those is extremely important in creating a rapport with the patient, such that when you now recommend a course of treatment or a particular intervention, they are going to be comfortable to be able to follow that thing with you. Exactly what you said about hospital appearances. Now, these days, when you go to a lot of hospitals abroad, as you said in New York, I've been to some hospitals in the US, UK as well. When you walk in, it's almost like you're walking into the lobby of a hotel. They are very welcoming places, very warm. Some places have nice, relaxing music as you walk in.
But do you think we don't have that here? Because I've been to some hospitals here, private hospitals, and
you say private.
No, I understand.
The money where you take walking self.
I have also been to some government hospitals, and trust me, they are trying.
Yeah, well, I think, as I said, I think people are beginning to realize the importance. Certainly at Eurocare, for example, you walk into our reception area, we have flowers, we have nice seats and everything like that. Again, just like some other private places have, just to make people feel comfortable. Because we realize the good thing about medicine is it's not just a science where take this drug, take this. There's a big psychological component to it. The patient, as you say, just walking in, feeling comfortable, feeling at ease in an environment goes a long way to them, not just feeling better, but also having confidence in the treatment that is going to be recommended from the doctor or whoever is looking after them.
Now that we're even celebrating World Heart Day, are there any lectures, anything planned that a lot of people can look forward to benefiting from? Because when we celebrate World Heart Day or any particular day set aside, are there any activities built around the World Heart Day?
So I know that there are some organizations that are organizing a lot of educational programs, for example, on other platforms. There are some other social media activities that are being organized, whether it be on the radio, whether through Facebook. I know certainly we are also putting out some articles on our website at uracare.com.ng where people can go and read some articles on healthcare interventions that they can take. Again, these are cheap interventions or even free that people can do just to look after themselves. And if they notice that there is a problem, then they also know where they may be able to go to be able to get advice and help or any intervention that may be appropriate for them.
Okay, looking at your profile now, I see saying I don't get some awards. Customer Service Leadership Award, one of the awards I don't collect for West Africa as of 2015. Una get any affiliates with, because I know so una they import equipment or una get company una they buy equipment from where they import. So that means una get affiliates or collaborations with other companies as well, where they give una the best for inside Nigeria. That's
correct. So we partner with particular companies. One of the companies is called GNCI. They are the ones that have helped us out with a lot of equipment that we have in our facility. They're all brand new equipment. As you alluded to, getting this equipment into the country can be very difficult. And in addition to that, it's not just bringing the equipment into the country. It is also about maintaining the equipment once it is around. A lot of hospitals have been in the situation where they've bought equipment. You will see a nice opening day program, state-of-the-art program. But you come back 3 years later, the equipment is not working because it's not being maintained. They don't have the right expertise within the country to be able to maintain that equipment. But luckily with some companies now like JNCI, not only are they able to bring the equipment into the country, but they're also able to maintain it. For the kinds of work that I do as an interventional cardiologist, the equipment and the consumables that we use to do interventions like open up a blocked heart vessel, for example, a company like Medtronic, which provides these consumables, we are able to get those, they're able to provide it for us in the country, understanding the particular economic circumstances that we have, so that we have all these things ready, always on the shelf. Because when someone is having a heart attack, that's not the time to say, okay, I need to go and order this material now. It needs to be available in all shapes and all sizes so that whoever comes, you can do what you need to do.
I want to ask, all these new interventions where people they do, like all this that they use camera, do surgeries, are there those kind of technological advancements?
I think it's called
laparoscopy.
Laparoscopy, yes.
I know that they pass
right.
a camera through many sides of the body now. Have you even seen some that they use surgical hands, like some kind of robotic technology?
Yes. Correct.
Do we have those kinds in Nigeria or not just documentary standard?
Well, we have a lot of laparoscopic work. So the work, for example, as in interventional cardiology, the work that we do is all what we call minimally invasive. So you can work through the wrist and introduce all the catheters to the heart and walk through there. So it's not like you have to open up the heart, the chest completely or the heart completely.
Are you kidding me? Because I actually don't see person when you tell me said he don't do heart surgery. When I can't see the person come up cloth, I they look for knife
or scissors.
I don't see any opening. I can't say lie.
No.
So really, they can actually do this?
Yes, we can do it just through the wrist or through the groin in some cases. And at our facility, we do other laparoscopic procedures. So we have a neurosurgeon that does minimally invasive spinal surgery, for example, where he just does a little incision, no more than that, and he introduces little cameras with a microscope and is able to look very carefully and treat those kinds of conditions. We have another surgeon who comes in, and especially for very obese patients who are extremely big and want to lose weight, he can do procedures, again, just through a couple of camera ports through the abdomen to reduce the size of the stomach.
Oh, they can do, what do they call that?
Bariatric.
Bypass.
Yeah, they can do bypass and bariatric surgery.
In Nigeria?
In Nigeria?
We've been doing them in Nigeria.
We're advancing.
We know they grow.
Really?
And the same way, you see the way Dr. Majeko do me they talk, you could say, all easy peasy.
No.
Are there challenges? I always want to ask medical doctors, you get any challenges mentally for you people? Because I know that you work with people every day that can become emotional. How do you guys separate living from the work they do? They go for maybe therapy or something?
Well, some people do, and it can be very difficult with a lot of our patients. Some patients, you get very close to them, you're bonded to them, and in some cases, maybe they have a terminal illness where, as far as medical technology is concerned, there's not much more that you can offer them. And we are people at the end of the day, and we respond to people just like anybody else. We're not robots on the end of the table, sort of making diagnoses. And so it can be difficult, but over the years, you work out ways to cope with it and move on, because one of the things that keeps us going is to look forward to that next patient that you are able to help, who does very well, and that really gives you a lot of encouragement to carry on, to counterbalance against the few that you're not able to do too much for.
Wow, very interesting conversation. Thank you very much, Dr. Majekodunmi, for
Lola,
coming.
before you get any websites where you need to just in case for people
to
who want to get more, or social media handles.
Yes, so our website is euracare.com.ng.
Eura is like
EURACARE. My Twitter handle is Dr. Tosin Majek on Twitter, and I can also be contacted on my email, tosin.majekodunmi@euracare.com.ng.
Wow. Fantastic, thank
All
you.
right, very interesting conversation. We're to take care of your heart. You don't already hear all the tips where doctor don't give us. Say all those things where you fit prevent, make you know let them enter yekpa level before you begin ask for doctor. We go back small break now. By the time we will come back, the show still will continue.
To enjoy more of these our Ogbonge videos when you just watch, press this button to subscribe on top of our YouTube page. You go love her.
All right, welcome back, and thanks about Otubo for giving us some sports news today, and Ikechukwu for giving us news around the world and also in Nigeria. Time for some international story, but we'll start today with some news. It's a bad news, but it's still like a celebration of life for inside Wibodo, Nigeria, as we always put on. You've Efna, where you be the editor-in-chief of the Playboy magazine and the man behind the popular show, the Playboy Mansion. Indo actually go meet the ancestors at the age of 91. Now, before in that, him be advocate of sexual liberation and freedom of expression. Also, him now also political activist, philanthropist, and several other things we actually do in the public light. The one where everybody remember him for now, the Oga for inside the Playboy Mansion.
Honestly, this man live full life. I don't like give you, because when he started the sexual revolution in the early, maybe 80s, early 70s, 80s, into the 80s, yes. Those times they do push the boundaries of what many people not do. And his industry lasted over the years.
Oh, it did. It does. You know, growing up, I loved Playboy Mansion. Truthfully, because you know it's because then I see those girls when they pack. They actually pack like, let's say, 12, 15 girls into one house, and I see most of them being made from just being in that house. And I know, say, one perception where I be saying they sleep with all of them. See how you could just gather all the girls together, and you know they do anything. Everybody. But for instance, one interview, you come outside, talk, say, now they believe where people get, but really I don't sleep with them.
Well, some people just believe, say, he was setting a very bad examples for a lot of people. But meanwhile, may so rest in peace, and we'd also give our heart, or we'd also
a celebration of life,
condolence to the other family.
All right, Doris Simon said, don't come out. They talk for inside them these days newspaper. They talk, say, why many women they single these days now? Because men, they shy away from their husbandly duties. And that's so she talk. And he talks, say, you know, they peculiar to only Nollywood, though. He say many industry get single mothers. And that no be saying they support them, saying no be advocate of single parenthood. But if it happen, may person hold himself. Because emotional trauma can be very devastating for a woman. All of us know, say, Doris Simeon and Ademiroko were married. Now he's married to Stella Damasus.
Yeah.
And it was a very dirty fight that year when they separate. But anyway, everybody don't carry waka, they move on with their own life challenges. So.
What she talking now? A lot of men want to be like boyfriends, but husbands, they are not really ready for it.
No, they expect wifely responsibilities while they still want to keep you as a girlfriend.
Yes, very true.
They want to have their cake and eat it. All right, from there, make we enter the P Square annual saga.
Now,
They say the annual saga is here again. It's like a promo.
Yes.
It's like
season finale.
It's always towards the end of the year, Ember month. That is when the annual saga comes out. And they say this time around, they have not disappointed us. They say, of course, the two of them, they don't scatter based on but things we don't they happen. And many people, they ask many questions. Say, how una go take do una music? Una don't they do music together? Will you not be going solo or will you do bigger boy? You know what I'm saying? All right, they say P Square, Peter Okoye, right now they call him Mr. P. He don't come outside talk, say, he don't come out and answer plenty questions. No. He don't even know they do solo bookings, they do solo show. Anybody won't do anything with him. He even tell one of his fans, say, he go they perform songs where him and his brother, they do together. Even though they did it together, he will be doing it separately. People don't they come outside, they ask so many things about this P Square and their yearly saga.
Honestly, I just find it a bit disheartening that they cannot keep their matter within the family, that he has to enter into something where media go, they put mouth, they put blame. Everybody don't they blame their wives, saying that their wives, some they have been gossip saying that their wives because
they don't blame
some
Lola
saying judo. Why would they blame Lola? Because she they older than her husband.
Because she they older than her
so
husband.
Must it be a crime? I'm not saying I don't know what happened, but I just know that nobody should put mouth because you don't know what really happened between the family.
And people need to understand, say, sometimes God, they bring una together for una to blow. Now, going separate ways, let's see how far their
careers can go. Sometimes I've seen people who have scattered career, like Ego and Lagbaja. It's as if they all went separate ways and their careers went follow them.
Almost all of them, side plus.
Yes, their career follow them.
A lot of celebrities.
Infinity. They work out their career to follow them, go where they go.
Plantation Boys. Now let Two-Face they
move. And it took some time too. All right, so now the show where we get for you today, make you get better weekend. Me, I plan it to be lit.
Yeah, we're going to roll it.
Happy wedding to my new manager, Rafani Omadipi.
And also happy independence to Nigeria.
Yes, Nigeria. Yeah. But we're going to celebrate her with you on Monday.
Yeah, very true.
I hope Richie will not come wearing Nigerian flag.
I'm going to have my flag. Happy weekend.
No, I think we all should have Nigerian flag. We need to be patriotic.
Okay, we're going to need to come out with this.
Patriotism starts with me and you and every one of us. Are we ending with P Square?
We're ending with P Square. We have to roll it.
That's the weekend.
Roll it. See how you control it. Come on. Make me beautiful. Hey, come on.
Well, P Square can split, but Nigeria would never split.
I like it. I like it. So go, 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 go. I like it. Hey, girl, I love the way you roll it. See how you control it. Ooh, you done make me come back for more. Hey, oh more, I love the way you roll it. No fit just control it. We step into the club, see how people just they jump. We say Victor and Paul, you guys are keeping it so strong. See we no go ever stop. We are headed to the top. As the music they go. Then all of a sudden see this girl they eye me, yeah. Looking so inviting. I know don't say she try me.